Hi, it's Neil, Natural Juice Junkie, and I'm here with 4 of the latest juices on the market. So at this end, we have the Omega Sana, we then have a Hurom, we've got a Kuvings Whole, and we've got the Optimum 700. And today, I want to do some comparisons on them. And one of the first things I want to point out before we start actually are the differences between the juices at this end and the juices at this end of the table. Because the juices at this end, both the Optimum 700 and the Kuvings, have wide feed chutes as opposed to skinny little ones. So the big difference there being, when I want to juice with these two machines, I'm going to have to chop everything up relatively small. And there's something else that's different in terms of size as well. Both the Optimum 700 and the Kuvings have rather large augers or squeezing screws, as opposed to having these kind of much smaller ones, which are actually more comparable with the Optimum 400, which is an older model of the Optimum brand. And generally speaking, the bigger the screw, the more it's able to actually get in terms of juice from the produce. Anyway, look, let's get these machines put back together, get those screws in there, and let's do some juicing. So as I mentioned, these two machines only have a small feed chute, so I'm going to have to chop everything up to juice in those. The Kuvings has the wide chute. The Optimum 700 actually has both. So on the front, we have a wide chute, and at the back, a narrow chute, which means we can put things like sticks of celery and stuff in whilst keeping them completely straight. So anyway, let's start with the Omega Sana. Now when that one's finished, again, just switch it off and close the tap. So let's find out how much juice is in each one of these and give it a taste. So with the Omega, the jug is showing about 300 millilitres. And if we just pour some of that out. It's good. You can taste the ginger in it, you can taste the apple in it, taste the lemon in it. It's got a good balanced mix of flavours, and it's a nice, very drinkable juice. How about the Hurom? So the Hurom is actually showing less than 300 millilitres. I'd say more like 250. So at the moment, in terms of yield, the Omega is definitely the winner. Let's try the juice itself. It's incredibly bitty. So it's got all the flavours, but it's really, really bitty, really bitty. I would actually want to sieve that juice. Let's have a look at the Kuvings. And the Kuvings is coming out around, actually, just balance up there. Make sure I'm seeing the light on this because the markings aren't as clear. So the Kuvings is actually coming out around 200 millilitres. So again, less than the Omega in terms of yield. But let's see what the flavour's like. It's another good juice. I can't fault that. In terms of the flavours and things, they're all pretty good so far. Don't like the mouthfeel that I get from the Hurom, so it's definitely out of these two so far. So let's see how the final machine, the Optimum 700, compares. Now, in terms of yield, this is showing me actually over 350 millilitres, so fractionally more than the Omega. So this is the highest. In fact, it's kind of between 350 and 4. So this is the highest yield. And let's see what the taste's like. It's another really good juice. It's another really good juice. So truthfully, in my own perspective, I like the convenience of the wide mouth juicers. I like not having to chop everything up. If I was going to go for one of these two, it would be the Omega. The Omega beats the Hurum in my mind just because the Hurum, the juice is so bitty, I would need to sieve that. And also it gave a better yield. If I was to say, okay, do I go this side or this side? I'm probably going to go for the wide mouth because of the added convenience of not having to chop everything up. And if it was a choice between these two, I'm going to be honest, in terms of the taste of the juice, there's not really anything to call in it. But I like the fact that with the Optimum 700, we got more juice. And I like this dual feed chute thing so that I can get, you know, my things like celery and carrots and things going in really straight at the back. And I can drop my my apples and things into the wide chute and they go in really easily. Now, one thing to say is that with the Optimum 700 as well, a couple of other features that I like about this. This feed chute, the wide one, is actually the widest one on the market right now. So it's actually slightly bigger than the one on the Kuvings, which means if you had some really big apples or something, you know, you might find that they don't quite fit the Kuvings, but they do fit the Optimum 700. But the other big thing is this. The Optimum 700 comes with a lifetime guarantee on the motor. Lifetime guarantee. Now, I don't know hardly any, if any, other juicers that offer that. In terms of, you know, that commitment to say it's a robust quality product, lifetime guarantee, I don't think you can beat. So it's a tough one to call because I have to say I'm actually very impressed with the Omega. The quality of the juice is really good. If you don't mind chopping things up, it's really good and it's got a good yield. But even that is slightly pipped to the post by the Optimum 700 in terms of its yield. Juice tastes about the same, and that lifetime guarantee and that wide feed chute, that's the one that gets it for me. Hi, it's Neil, Natural Juice Junkie, and I'm here with 4 of the latest juices on the market. So at this end, we have the Omega Sana, we then have a Hurum, we've got a Kuvings Whole, and we've got the Optimum 700. And today, I want to do some comparisons on them. And one of the first things I want to point out before we start actually are the differences between the juices at this end and the juices at this end of the table. Because the juices at this end, both the Optimum 700 and the Kuvings, have wide feed chutes as opposed to skinny little ones. So the big difference there being when I want to juice